yes, this is Kaypacha, once again with the weekly Pele report. Astrology for the soul. Just an astrological view of what the heck is going on planet Earth from the starry realms. This one is for April 20th, 2016. I'm just checking out the backyard here. I've been working, as I think everybody has, with everything that's going on these days. I want to talk a little bit today about Mercury traveling in conjunction with Vesta, who is associated also with the sign of Virgo, where we have Jupiter in the North Node. Really, those two have been traveling together, and then Mercury's going to go retrograde and stick with her for a while. All the way from April 11th, they conjuncted exactly on the 16th. Then Mercury's going to go retrograde. They're going to come back again on the 30th with another exact conjunction. Okay, and then Mercury's going to go retrograde. Vesta's going to move on. So we've got that going on. But the sun went into Taurus yesterday, and the moon is in Libra, moving into Scorpio. So on Thursday, tomorrow, all right, we've got the full moon in Taurus and Scorpio. Gotta be talking about that one a little bit. With everything that's going on, oh boy. Mars is still retrograde. Venus is coming up. I talked last week about Eris. I think it was last week, I mix up some of these reports sometimes, but, it's that the sun hit Eris last week, and now Venus is coming up, okay? And she's going to conjoin this weekend with Eris, two feminine female goddesses getting together in the sign of the warrior, speaking of which, our other goddess asteroid of Ceres has also just gone into Aries, okay, and she'll be there from April 14th, a little while ago, until July 16th. So we've got Venus, Eris, Ceres, it's all going on in Aries over there with Uranus, yeah? I want to talk a little bit about that. And I don't know, Venus conjuncts with Uranus on Friday. So we got a lot going on here. I suppose finally next Tuesday, but really ever since the sun goes into Taurus, it not only opposes the moon for the full moon, but that moon is coming up to Juno. Okay, another asteroid goddess, the co-ruler of Libra, along with Pallas Athene. And she's traveling through Scorpio, so we're going to have Sun opposite Juno. All right, and that is going on next Tuesday, but really, like I say, all week long. Some of these aspects, they're exact for a day or a minute, but really, they go on for, longer periods of time. And that's what we want to be talking about today. So, let's do it. All right. Well, I really don't know what I'm going to be saying today. It's one of those days. I don't know if you've been having those days lately, but there's been just a lot of work going on. Okay, and I mean, last night it was interesting, the sleeping in the tropics. All it takes is one mosquito, one mosquito in your ear all night long, and your history. So power is not always in size and force. Even tiny little mosquitoes have tremendous power over the destiny of the Pele report. Oh God, man. So I'm laying in bed, with this mosquito last night, thinking of having stuff come through. And one thing that really hit me is this astrology. Do you realize if you take out the sun and the moon, okay, and you look at all the planets that are out there, we've got what? Okay, I'm going to do masculine and feminine here. Okay, we've got Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, Chiron. Do you get something? Do you see something I don't see, or what? I mean, cut it out, man. The Greeks, you know, it was also a patriarchy. All right. I mean, we gotta really. So, you know, I'm bringing in. I just thought I'd look a little bit today at the feminine, at the asteroid goddesses. I brought in Eris last week. I've been working with Black Moon Lilith for a couple of years. But there is also, of course, you know, the four major asteroids, like I said, Ceres, okay, which is really associated with the nurturing principle of Gaia, Mother Nature. Okay, she has gone into Aries, again, wanting to be, you know, the warrior, getting in touch with her power. Eris, like I said, is a 560-year planetary cycle, is going to be in Aries for, you know, years to come. Venus is now moving through. It's conjunct with, you know, Eris now. It's going to come up and join with Uranus. And what is, you know, what is all of this about? It is this time period. And if we also look at the nodes of Pluto, the north node of Pluto, okay, and the Pluto polarity point is all in Cancer for many, many years. Pluto's in Capricorn from 2008 to 2024, 2025. And so the evolution of our species now, okay, occurs as we balance or move towards the polarity point of Pluto, which is in Cancer, ruled by the moon. Cardinal water, Brahma water, creative waters. You know, cardinal is like white water rafting or the surf on the beach. It's water that's moving and shifting and changing. And this is just like really an emotional, psychic, intuitive time. This is the feminine energy of the water. And we see that this falling of the patriarchy, this resurgence, okay, from the 50s and the suffragist movement and the women's liberation movement and everything that's going on now with the feminine is getting in touch with her power. And Black Moon Lilith is another part of this. Eris is another part of this. And now we have Venus coming around to Uranus. And on top of it all, what happens? Mars. The masculine warrior god, okay, you know, the penetrated, the phallic symbol, okay, is going retrograde. Like scratching the head like, oops, I forgot something in Scorpio. I have to turn around and go back and get it. You know, redo. Okay, Mars is doing. Retrograde Mars is redo, or review, or reflect, or go in. And this is the feminine. It's in, and it's dark, and it's deep, and it's scary, and it's changeable. Why? Because that masculine wants to order things and bring in light and structure and clarity. And the feminine is really, I mean, if we look at it, you know, this is, think of pregnancy, the womb. It's dark in there. It's surrounded. You're surrounded. You're enclosed. I grew up in Chicago. You know, I would go down to the furnace room. You know, it was down in the basement. And in the center of the house, there was this fire. And Vesta, Mercury conjoined with Vesta now for a couple of weeks, a few weeks here. You know, the Vestal virgins kept the hearth fires burning, okay, for all of Rome. Very, very powerful, the Vestal virgins. Yeah, this hearth fire, this furnace, okay, this is deep. Okay, it's not the kind of bright, brilliant sunlight. This is like, even think of hell. Yeah, this is, you know, Scorpio, the full moon in Scorpio. I'm talking about the full moon in Scorpio. I forgot about that. Yeah, Sun goes into Taurus, which is Earth, and also very, you know, in this feminine nature. Now the moon is moving into Scorpio, which is hell. It's the underworld. where we surrender and we sacrifice and we submit and we humble ourselves and we get naked and we expose ourselves and we're so vulnerable. It's like we got no skin, and we're all getting so vulnerable now. Neptune and Chiron moving through Pisces. This is just a time. And we go into the furnace, we go into hell, we go into the fires, we go into the brimstone. Ereshkigal, the goddess of the underworld, back in ancient Sumeria, was the sister of Inanna. The goddess of heaven, love and beauty. So this hell, these hell fires are burning and they are transforming. And it's neological, irrational. It appears as chaos, and yet it is the source of deep power. And this, if we're going to bring in a new paradigm and we're going to bring in a new future, we're not going to necessarily do it without doing our inner work. So Mars retrograde, Sun in Taurus, Moon going into Scorpio, this inner work. And this inner work has to do with our masculine and feminine. It has to do with our sexuality. It has to do with our inner relationship to our bodies and to our emotions. And this is our Kundalini. This is the source and the root of our power. So when I look at this full moon coming up here, and everything that's going on this weekend, it's just like, it's really a super powerful time for union and sexual union. And I just did this ISTA training. I super recommend, the International School of Temple Arts. They do trainings around the world, and it's very enlightening and connecting and freeing and liberating and illuminating, as to all of the repression that has gone on around our bodies and our sexuality. And they talk about 4 different kinds of sex. And I related it a little bit to the astrology, because you can say that one is, basically for procreation, recreation, restorative, and transformative. And if we look at this full moon, Taurus is earth. It's self. It's self-sufficient, it's self-pleasuring, it's my body and my senses. We've got the sun moving in here. It's self-love. The more we can unconditionally love ourselves and our bodies as we are. But it's also the second house in Taurus have to do with the survival of the species and procreation. So procreation, and we could also say recreation. Because recreation, Taurus, is about pleasuring the 5 physical senses. So the Taurus sexual experience is about a physical expression of pleasure and enjoyment and, recreation. Of course, Taurus and Scorpio are both square Leo. So, and Leo is recreation, but we don't want to get picky here. There's enough pickiness going on, with Jupiter, North Node in Virgo. Anyway. The other side then is Scorpio. And Mars is retrograding back into Scorpio. And Juno, the queen of heaven, the wife of Zeus, that has to do with partnership and relationship and intimacy and commitment. And boy, did she go through a lot with her commitment to Zeus. That's a whole story, yes, the mythology around, Juno, Hera. So, but what we have is this moon in Scorpio, and the Scorpio is then, I would associate Scorpio more with the other 2. Restorative, rejuvenating, getting in touch with the Kundalini, raising the Kundalini, up the spine, and opening, and clearing, and cleansing, and killing off all the crap, and burning off in some ways. Kundalini is a death force, This is all like coming up for us. And transformative. Yes, because as we merge with others, with forces beyond our control, as we become vulnerable, as we go into the underworld, as we just really open and surrender, You know, Scorpio in the 8th house is death. It's like, let go of your ego, let go of your attachments, let go of your past, let go of your childhood memories and your past lives, and just like go through the ring of fire. So this, you know, and out of that ring of fire rises the phoenix. And so it's just like, this is such a time, you know, of going into the fire. You know, and it's inside. So I don't even want to say going into the fire. I want to say feeling into our own fire, and maybe using, you know, our relationships, our work, everything that happens, our conversations, to reflect and to feel and to like bring up all this rubble, all this rumble, all this volcanic, yeah, energy from that spine. And this is going to empower us, yes, because it is charisma. It is this magnetic energy. It is this inner knowing and this inner power that impresses people, influences people, yes, leads people, inspires people. Yeah, it's like this is the, so it's like changing ourselves is like the step, you know, in changing the world and in bringing in the world. So with Mars retrograde, with the full moon in Taurus Scorpio, with Venus coming around to Eris and Uranus, with the Pluto polarity point in Cancer and the north node of Pluto in Cancer, this is like so powerfully feminine, inward, dark, changeable, shifting, flowing, and emotional. And I just want to encourage you, take time out, take time off, because there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of work, there's a lot of demands. But set aside as much time as you can for what is Mercury Vesta. Vesta is the sacred work, and Mercury is study and thought and thinking. And Mars and Saturn moving through Sagittarius of the philosophy and the truth and natural law. This is really a time, and it's coming up more as, you know, I mean, Mercury's going to go retrograde, you know, next week. Okay, I'll talk more about that later. But just this real time, study your astrology or your tarot or your massage or your acupuncture or your mysticism or the Kabbalah, or I mean, it's like this is a time for sacred study. This is a time for deepening our connection to the river of life, to the source of creation, and making that connection, centering ourselves in that connection, in that core, gives us, yes, our own truth, and our identity is rooted, and we're not going to be swayed or pushed or duped or, you know, become gullible or weak or whatever. When we center ourselves in our truth and our core, boom, you know, Scorpio is about power. So, you know, this full moon is about owning our power, gaining our power, seeing our power, feeling our power. Yeah, baby. Bring it on. So it is a good weekend for making love and transforming our relationships and our identities and our realities through this process, yes, of mirroring and shadow work and dealing with what comes up and all of our fears and, you know, it's like, yeah, feel it. And it's going to move out, you know, and obviously, like I say, you know, the moon moves into Sag in a couple of days, you know, this weekend, and then goes on, you know, to Capricorn. Everything moves on, but I'm saying this is really an opportunity. Yeah, so we can see it as I'm losing, or I'm freaking out, or I'm afraid, and I can't trust or open, or we can take this as, all right, you know, yeah, you know, I'm going for it. You know, I'm jumping off the cliff. I'm jumping off the diving board. I'm going into the deep end, you know, and I'm going to just like open myself to life. The power and the force of life regenerates, rejuvenates, and ultimately empowers us as we unite ourselves with it. Yeah, baby. Okay, so the mantra. When I'm centered in my core, there's a stillness that's much more than an idle mind. It's the source that gives birth to all that is new and wants to rise from the base of my spine. There's a coiled Kundalini serpent, chi, red, powerful energy sitting at the base of our spines. And with yoga and with other forms of meditation, breath work, movement, sex, we can awaken this energy, and it empowers us. And it's a little scary to go there and unleash, open the cage of the dragon. But really, yeah, as we do this, we give birth to a new identity, and that ultimately will give birth to new humanity. You know what I'm saying? And maybe some of you do, some of you don't. That's why it's free. Okay, what is it? Come on. When I'm centered in my core, there's a stillness that's much more than an idle mind. It's the source that gives birth to all that is new, wanting to rise from the base of my spine. May you sit in stillness, but be inwardly moving and moved. Namaste. Aloha. So much love.